Yo, in this video I'm going to be going over how to create and set up a full stack application, something that previously used to take large development teams and years of coding experience. But with tools like Google's Antigravity, we're now able to create production ready applications, and this is all without writing a single line of code. And so in this video I'm going to be showing you what Antigravity is and how we can pair it with Claude Code, as well as the full framework of going from idea to the actual deployment in the end. And without further ado, let's get into it. The first thing that you're going to do is that you're going to download Google's Antigravity down to your PC. Once you've downloaded it, open it up, and it will look something like this. Click on where it says open folder, then anywhere you want on your PC, you just have to create an empty folder. Just click new, click folder. We could just call the folder application. Once you've named the folder, simply just click on the select folder button right here. And this will open up the folder inside of Antigravity. On the left side, we now have the Explorer. On the center part, we will have the files themselves, and on the right side, we'll have the actual chat with the agent. If you're on a free plan, you will have a limited usage of the AI models over here. But if you are on a Claude subscription, like I am myself, let me show you how to connect that to Antigravity as well. Come over to the left side right over here where it says extensions, click on that. And then you want to search for Claude. You want to be careful of any fraudulent extensions that are trying to imitate the real Claude Code. So look for the publisher Anthropic. Click on the blue button that's going to say install and just restart the extension. Once you've restarted the extension, you're going to have a little Claude icon up here. And when you click that, a Claude Code window is going to open up. And just like that, we have successfully installed Claude Code onto Antigravity. Now we want to just close down this extension part. So just click back to where it says Explorer. And we're now back into the proper view. When we are building anything inside of Antigravity and inside one of our folders in the Explorer tab, everything that we build is going to run locally on our PC. So it's not being hosted anywhere, it's being hosted on your PC. So whenever you have a new project or something new that you want to build, simply just open up a new folder and just build the project in that folder. Before we get started with building the applications, I just quickly want to cover the different modes you can set Claude Code to be in. We are mainly going to be using the one that's called plan mode, but also the mode that's called bypass permissions. If you're setting this up for the first time, bypass permissions is probably not going to be showing up for you. So the way that you're going to fix that is that you're going to come to extensions again right here, click on the manage button and go to the settings of Claude Code. And over here at the right side, you just want to click this button. Once that is checked off, you can just close down the settings window again right here and come out of this again right here. Perfect. Let's start building the application. For building this application, we're going to be using this exact setup. First of all, we're going to be having a framework, which is where we're going to be giving the AI instructions on how to execute on creating the application. Think of it as giving instructions to a coding team. We want to be specific on how the agent should build out the application so that we can control the consistency of the outcome. The second step is where we're going to be planning the process, where we're going to be instructing the agent on what it needs to be building, as well as providing inspiration for the agent as to how the application should look. And the AI will plan out every single step that it needs to execute on when creating the application. The next part is the testing part. And this is also the part where we review the application and offer the agent to change things that we don't like or anything that we think should be in a different way. And finally is the part of deployment, where we're going to deploy the application to the public so that everyone can use it. And with that out of the way, let's start building the application. The first thing that we want to do is be creating the framework for this whole application. So come over here in this window and click on the new file icon right here and name it Claude.md. Now we're going to come over to this document. I'm going to be leaving a link to it down below in the description so you can grab it for yourself. Simply just copy the whole thing and just go back into Antigravity and paste it in right here. Now you might ask, what did we just do? We just gave Claude some instructions as to how to approach this task of building an application. And it instructs the agent to build the application in a 3-layer architecture. I'm always going to recommend whenever you build something in Antigravity that you're always creating a markdown file like this one with a overall prompt or overall system as to how you want to build out whatever you want to build. The better you can plan out a project before starting it, the better the outcome is going to be. So you should always create a markdown file like this one before starting a project. Also a little tip, if you've created a project in the past without a markdown file, you can come down here and type /init. And Claude Code is actually going to create one of these Claude.md files where it's going to go over the whole process of the application that you have built. And all we need to do now is just to initiate the project. And we're going to first put Claude into plan mode, and we're going to tell it to please start this project based on the Claude.md file. And just send it. So now Claude is going to be creating all the different folders and the infrastructure, so to speak, of the application. So we're not building the application yet, we're just making sure that the structure is right before we start that process. As we can see, it now says the project is fully initialized, and if we come over here, we can see it has created the folder of the backend, the execution, the different directives, and also the front end folder right here. And this takes us to the second stage, which is the planning stage. And I'm just going to paste in the prompt from my app that I want to build. And I want to build a simple FAQ generator app where users can paste in any text like a website description, product info, or service overview. And the app generates a clean FAQ based on the content. If we just were to click enter right now, Antigravity is just going to design the looks of the app however it wants. But we don't want that. We want to be the ones that decide how the app should look. So to make the app look nice, I'm going to provide it with an example. And for that, I'm going to head over to the website called Dribbble. And I can simply just search for what I want. So I could say FAQ generator, for example, right here. And I could just pick the one that I like. I feel like this one looks pretty solid. All I really have to do now is just copy this image and head back into Antigravity, insert the image right here. And I'm also going to instruct Antigravity to please make sure to take a look at my reference image when you are creating the design and the layout of my application. Now, as you can see, Claude Code is reading through all the files and is actually in the process of just making the application. We can see there is a brand guidelines out here, so it's going to determine all the colors of the application and all of that different stuff. So yeah, right now we just need to wait for the agent to build out the application. So now Claude Code has generated the whole plan of the FAQ generator app. You can go through and read everything about this, every single step that it's going to do, but for now I'm just going to hit yes and auto accept, and it's going to create the application for us. When you've set it to plan mode, it's going to ask you a bunch of different questions as to how you want the application to end up. Okay, so it just finished, and as you can see, it has given me 4 different steps to run. First, we can see it says I need to install my API key at backend/.env, and the env file is basically the secret folder of your application. So this is where you're going to be storing all your API keys and sensitive information, so to speak. To get my Anthropic API key, I'm just going to head over to platform.claude and go down to where it says API keys. And I'm just going to create a new API key. Call it FAQ generator. Then I'm just going to copy this key. Then I'm going to head back to Antigravity. It told us to go into backend/.env, so I'm going to navigate to backend. And I'm going to enter the env file. And I'm going to paste in the Anthropic API key right here. Now we need to install the Anthropic package. And I'm just going to copy this information right here. We can just ask Claude Code to do it for us. So I'm just going to paste it in. And I'm just going to say, can you install this for me? As we can see, it now says both servers are up and healthy. You're good to go. Open up the local host in your browser and click Generate FAQ. Now we really just need to test it out. I'm just going to copy this right here and go into Google Chrome. Open up a new Chrome tab and just paste it in right here. And we can see how it looks. We can see it says FAQ generator. Generate an FAQ section. For example, let's say I want to create an FAQ section about my website. I could just click Control-A or Command-A if you're on Mac, copy everything, go into the FAQ builder, paste it in, and click Generate FAQ. And then it says Anthropic API key is not configured on the server. So I'm just going to take a screenshot and I'm going to head back into Antigravity. I'm going to provide the screenshot and I'm going to say, I have inserted my API key, but it seems to make the error whenever I try to scrape my website. Every time you run into a problem, you can easily just ask it to fix it itself, or at least ask it for directions so that you know what to do. Now let's try running it again. So let's refresh, go back into the website, copy in everything, and pasting it in right here. This time it seems to have recognized my API key, but it seems to say Claude return malformed JSON. Please try again. So again, we're just going to take a screenshot of this, copy the whole thing, and head back into Antigravity. Type /clear in this window to clear out the window right here. And I'm going to, again, paste in the window. And I'm just going to say, perfect, now the API key works, but I'm getting this error whenever I'm trying to convert some information into an FAQ database. Done, the unused JSON import was removed. Let's try again. So we just head back and just click Generate FAQ again. FAQ generated. What is Loop AI? How can Loop AI help me get more customers? What services does Loop AI offer? Will the AI sound robotic? Blah, blah, blah. It seems to be perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. But I want this app to have some sort of login. Otherwise, everyone can just open up my application and use my API key. So I want to have some authorized logins. And to do this, I'm going to be using a software that is called Firebase, which is also by Google. Firebase enables us to create this authentication wall as well as hosting and publishing the application. To use Firebase in Antigravity with Claude Code, we need to download the Firebase MCP servers onto Claude Code. This is a lot of terms, so I'm just briefly going to describe what that means. MCP basically just stands for Model Context Protocol. Basically, MCP allows us to take the Firebase servers and the Claude Code servers and connect them together. To find the MCP download, you want to head to this page right here. Again, I'm going to be linking to this down in the description below. Here we're going to find the plugin to download the MCP server. So go to where it says Claude. Basically, we just want to follow the instructions right here. So first we're going to download this plugin, then download this, and then this. And we should successfully have downloaded Firebase MCPs. To download these 3 plugins, come down to this dash down here, click it, and scroll down to where it says Manage MCP Servers and just click on Continue in Terminal. This is going to open up a Claude Code terminal. Yes, I trust this folder. Click 1. And I'm going to copy in the 3 commands that I just showed you. It gave me some issues, but I finally just ended up copying this one and that fixed it instantly. So just paste this one in and you should see that it says Firebase MCP server added successfully. Now it's configured in your local project. Restart Claude Code for the MCP server to be available in your session. Now the MCP should be installed. I can check again and I can ask, do you have access to the Firebase MCP? Yes, I have access to the Firebase MCP. Now we can again just come down here, scroll over to bypass permissions and give it this information, telling it to create the backend using Firebase. Now it has created everything. And actually if I go into Firebase, I can see it has, just by me logging in by itself, made the new project. So that is perfect. So down here it asks me to download a service account key. I have no idea what that is, so I'm just going to ask it to. I'm not sure what that is. Can you guide me on how to do that? So it has just given me the guide on what to do, so I'm just going to fulfill this and then we can move on. So now it has asked me to open up localhost 3000 again, so let's do that and see how it looks. We now have a login window where we can log in and sign in with Google, or we can sign in with email and password. Okay, so continue with Google doesn't seem to work. How about the email? Let's try signing in with that. So when I'm trying to log into my application, it does not really allow me to sign in either with Google or with my email and password. Can we fix this? The reason it didn't work before is because I had a domain issue and also a Firestore database issue. So it just gave me 2 guides on what I needed to do, and I just went into Firebase and did both of these right here. And now it actually works, because if I open up my FAQ generator, I can both sign in with Google right here, just click the account I prefer, or I can even sign up with my full name, email and password. Let me just demonstrate right here. I'm just going to sign in right here. Continue. And now I am inside the generator where I can paste in my content and get the FAQ. So now we have an authentication layer between the software and the user. Now we just need to go to the final step, which is the deployment of the application. So we're just going to come back into Antigravity and say, hey, can you please just publish my application using the Firebase MCP servers that you already have access to? To publish my application, I just quickly need to sign into Firebase CLI. Again, just follow what it says on right here on the screen. Perfect. Now our application seems to be live. So if I just click this link right here, it should open it up. Just like this, we can sign in with Google, like that. And we can use our FAQ generator, just like before right here. We can see I'm logged in right up here at the top right corner, and I can also sign out again if I wanted to do that. And that is exactly how you can take an idea of a full stacked application and deploy it live onto the internet, and actually turn it into a real deployment. I hope you found this guide helpful. If you have any questions, just ask them down below in the comments, and I'll make sure to answer every single one of them. But for now, I'm heading out.